Hi, my name is Camperchioli. I am the writer and star of Fem the Film, and this is my coming out process. Or story, my coming out story. I just wrote and produced a film called Fem the Film, which is about a character named Carson who goes to hook up someone on a dating app and gets turned away for being too femme, and sort of has to learn how to love himself because of this label and not in spite of this label. And sort of the femme identity is something that I've learned to love, and it really has been an aspirational story. So when I wrote it, I really didn't love myself and love that word. And through this journey, I really have learned to love that word, and I am femme and I love it. And a lot of this process for me was unpacking what the femme identity means. And I think that you'll see a lot of times, like on dating sites, no femmes, and I sort of wanted to break down what that meant. And for me, I think the word femme can be interchanged with too gay or flamboyant. And what does that mean? Being femme means that you are markedly gay, and how to put down someone for being femme is to put them down for being markedly gay. And what does that have to say about how we view each other if to be markedly gay is something that is bad? And so my whole goal with this film is to help people embrace their femme identity and love themselves as is. Because I know when I was growing up, I was called femme, I was called too gay, I was called too flamboyant and too girly. And it's interesting how I was called those things before I even had any sort of concept about my sexuality at all. So people were giving me these labels saying that I was gay before I understood what gay really was or what it meant, because I wasn't really a sexual being at that time. And years later, I look back and I'm unpacking that, and I'm like, the first time I ever heard the word gay was when it was being thrown at me with such a negative connotation. And then I wonder, why it takes so long to love myself and why that journey was so long. And I think it's because my first conception of what it meant to be gay was this negative thing. And it was reflected back to me in the politics at the time. I remember, don't ask, don't tell being this huge thing, and understanding that your sexuality, if you're gay, is not something that should be talked about at all. And there wasn't really representation in the media of complex gay characters. The characters that we had were super one-dimensional and were usually the butt of the joke. And so it took me a really long time to learn how to love myself. And what I'm hoping to do with Femme is to present my story as a gay femme man, and to encourage other people to tell their stories too, because telling my story has been the most liberating thing in my entire life. And so long as gay people were told that we shouldn't take up space and we shouldn't tell our stories, and telling my story has changed my life. The first gay person that I ever knew was my cousin, and his name is Louis, and he's been such a great role model to me. And when I was younger, I never remember having a specific conversation to him about him being gay, but I remember going to his house and he was in this half mask with a wig on top, and he was singing Memory from Cats, and then something in me was like, yeah, we're the same, So that was really meaningful to just have this moment where I don't know what it is, but we're on the same level. And then I remember being in community theater and being surrounded by out, proud, gay teens, I guess, and having that be such an impactful experience. And I remember sort of learning, maybe I'm like them. And I remember thinking if one of the boys kissed me, I wouldn't be mad. And I think that was the first time I was sort of bargaining with myself, where I'm maybe I'm not fully like that, but I wouldn't be mad if it happened, And then I started to realize, like, yeah, I am like that, and I am gay. And I think moving to New York was a huge thing. And it was the first time I was able to be out to sort of everyone that I knew. I was at NYU, and at NYU, you're basically gay until proven straight, pretty much. So to be surrounded by gay men that I looked up to was really powerful. And what I thought was interesting as well, looking back on it, is that when I was growing up, I had a lot of like OCD tendencies, and so I would like wash my hands compulsively and like check to see if the car was locked like a million times and all those things. And the second that I moved to New York and really lived in my full gay identity, all of those things like faded away and stopped. And I'm not a doctor, but I think those two things are correlated, and I think living an out life makes you just a more well person. And I was able to really flourish in New York because I was living as myself for the first time in my entire life. And I never like hid anything from my parents because I felt like I was always the same person that I was at home, that I was in New York, but I had never dated anyone. And so I never felt the need to come out to them because I wasn't dating anyone, and straight people don't come out as being straight, so why did I have to come out as being gay when there wasn't someone that I was dating? And then I did start dating someone, and I was on a contract in upstate New York, and I was doing Bob the Builder live, which was amazing. And I remember sort of falling in love for the first time with this guy and feeling absolutely crazy, like out of my mind, because I don't know, the first time you fall in love, it's just all these new experiences and feelings, and I was around these people who had never really known me before, so I just felt so unlike myself. And I remember me and this guy had gotten into like an argument about something, and I didn't know how to handle it, and I remember calling my mom and being like, Mom, like, I got into an argument with this guy, and no, I think he said like, I'm dating someone and his name is da 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 da, and we got in this fight about this or whatever. And my mom like helped me through the argument and like gave me some advice, and then at the end was like, I know that you're gay and I love you and I support you. And I'll never forget where I was. It was under this like willow tree in this park in Buffalo. And sometimes I think about going back to that spot just to have a moment there, because it was just such a turning point in my life where I was accepted by my family. And I'm just so lucky that I have a family that is supportive and does love me as I am. And I guess the good news is that even if you don't have that from your biological family, you will find that, and you will find your tribe, and you will find a group of people who will love you exactly as you are, exactly as is. And I guess my advice would be that being gay is the biggest gift that you could possibly get. And it's gonna take a really long time for you to understand that maybe, but learn to love that part of your identity, because what makes you different really is your superpower. And it's just a matter of learning how to harness that. And that's what I found out from FEMME, because FEMME is a word that gave me so much shame, and I was able to sort of turn that on its head and learn to love myself because I am femme, because I am gay, because I am too flamboyant and extra and all these things. And I learned to harness that and make that my superpower. So my challenge to you is to find what makes you different, harness it, and learn to love yourself exactly as you are in this moment, because you're perfect.